So what up, son?
Oh, you have a black and white BLT shirt?
Of course.
I never knew that.
BasicLogoT.com, bro.
I like that shit.
I got all the color waves.
All right, I want that one.
I got you.
No. I want it, meaning I'm gonna put that to my cart.
Bet.
I still have a cart. I'm trying to make a big order.
Why?
Cause I don't just make. It's better. It's actually more efficient. Instead of individual shipping.
Yeah.
Until you got it.
So how you doing?
Listen, I'm doing great. I want to talk to you about girls.
Oh yeah, what do you
We're
want to
talk about females.
Oh fuck.
No, I do want to talk to you about it though. I feel like the questions you have would be really good for guys to hear because you're married. You actually know the game, what it's like. So if you want those questions that you're gonna ask me, you can ask me live on the podcast.
What questions?
Remember you said you had questions about the girls? Serious?
No,
shit?
I had. What I had was questions for you to ask.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, right?
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask you what the fuck,
Well, you could be like, to gauge.
Well, to gauge a woman that you want, yeah.
Yeah. It'd be good.
X, Y, and Z. There's a lot of things I feel like no one thinks about when they're talking to a girl and they're in the lustness of, attraction, and their vision is blurred by that.
Tunnel vision,
yeah, I guess.
And so what are we missing?
I would say values. Like, what are your values, and how does that reflect, like, her values, and does that meet in the middle with, do you both meet in the middle on the same terms, or are you gonna, like, I got to know her, and you get engaged, you get married, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's a whole different person, that's possible.
Yeah, that's a scary reality too. It's like a whole different person you didn't even realize.
Or you can get lucky and, find someone that has the same values and core beliefs. And
for most things, right? It's impossible to find someone that agrees with you on everything.
Yeah, no, there's no.
But those core values, like, are you always improving? Or are you trying to be the best version of yourself?
Will they help you improve?
Will they help you? Will they call you out on your bullshit?
Will they call you out? Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's hard to find. Sometimes people don't want to hurt each other's feelings.
Yeah, but that's just I feel like that's just the basis of it.
Ooh, so let's get specific. What's that one question that you're like, that's my core value, that's like uncompromising?
I don't think there's one specific question.
Well, what's the top one? Top couple? Throw me a bone. Tell me what you're looking for. If you were looking, what you're looking for?
I mean, this is very broad, but I guess raising children, how would you raise them, and things of that aspect. You can get deeper with that, but in a general sense, that would be a top, in the top category of where her head's at, where your head's at, and like I said, do you meet in the middle, or I want this for the kid versus no, I want that for the kid. Things like that. What
do you think is the most kind of important stuff? Like, do you think is how you discipline kids? I mean, that's very important, but like, is it where they go to school? Is that something?
Discipline, the kid's diet,
Ooh.
There's a lot, there's a lot of things.
I like that. Like, how do we feed their kids? Or are you just going to get them fast food because it's easy, convenient, or we're going to cook a nice meal, make sure it has all the right nutrition in it.
Yep.
Nice home cooked meal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, now we're talking. Now we're cooking.
Literally.
Yeah. But we aren't.
Yeah.
That's a whole topic.
We barbecue.
We barbecue.
Yeah, get burgers, flip.
Today was a nice barbecue.
Some hot dogs.
Chicken. That's all I know how to do. Don't ask me to make a burger.
Really?
Nope. I will burn it.
Cook it. One side. Flip once. Cook it. Done.
2 flips?
Yep.
The last time I cooked a burger, I flipped it 6 times.
My dad will fucking flip it 35 times.
But it comes out good.
For what though? Done.
Do you like it rare or well done?
Well done.
Oh, you like
so
it
I'll do like 4 minutes one side, 4 minutes another side, or 5.
Oh, so you trying to cook it?
Yeah, dude. You gotta cook your meat. I mean, I know people eat that shit raw, but that's fucking... I don't know.
You don't like it red?
Beef? You eat your beef red?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Like when you go to a restaurant,
I'll eat the steak a little medium.
Yeah, it's beef. Same idea, no?
Yeah, but the ground beef tastes like, feels like you're eating brains.
That's actually a good way to. That's a good way to describe it.
Because when I look at that shit and it's pink like that, I'm like, oh my god.
It's little strands.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they get it that red and pink. Is that blood or is that?
Well, the one you buy in the supermarket is dyed. I'm pretty sure.
Dyed.
Yeah, you're not getting. Yeah, it's sitting for way long. They got to make it presentable, you know.
Yeah, because I noticed when you freeze it, or if air touches it, it turns brown.
Yeah.
And then when you peel off that layer, it's red again. So you're dying it.
Presentation is key. They'll even manipulate the lighting in the grocery store to make the greenery more green and the red more, all the colors of the fruits and vegetables. Sometimes they have specific lighting
above the produce section.
Yeah.
Really?
To highlight it a little bit more.
I never thought of that. That's a common thing?
I think so, yeah. I've heard, I've read about it, but how common it is, I'm not sure. But I'm sure, big corporation supermarkets are doing that.
No, now I'm gonna be looking, bro. I'm gonna look for that green light, yeah. Or that white light. I'm gonna start looking now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, it's looking good. Finally, after four attempts.
4 attempts, we got the audio correct.
Oh my god! See, I'm the worst. It's my fault for every single time. Because you're probably in the back of your head. You're like, is this gonna be a good audio podcast or not? Dude, it was only with you too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I overthought it because you have highs and lows, George.
Oh yeah. I'm sporadic.
Yeah, but this one is a general audio filter. So
that's why we connected 2 mics, huh?
And yes, we have 2 mics. Just God forbid.
Got the wireless and the analog.
You know what's sick? It's literally, you can't see it on the camera, but it's facing the same direction. It's sick. That is such a nice spot for it. No one will ever know.
You're gonna buy them, aren't you?
I am so gonna buy them, just in case, man. And they sound great.
Yeah, they're not bad. Well, when I first recorded with them, I had it on the wrong setting.
Oh yeah,
and I'm looking back at the audio and the video, and I'm like, I only hear it in one fucking earphone. What the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah, stereo.
But we figured it out.
You got it.
Trial and error over here.
Fifth time's a charm.
Yeah. Don't tell them that.
Listen, that's just the truth. I want to go back to when we were talking about the family values. I think that's why I'm looking harder than ever for those type of characteristics, like good family values. It's hard to explain sometimes, but you can feel it. It's like how they act a certain way.
Yeah.
Like I always give the example is like how you treat the waitress. That's a very good tell of how you treat people you don't know that are doing a service for you. Mm-hmm. Like you should always be kind in general to those type of people.
Of course, yeah.
But if you get a sense that, there's a little disrespect there, you're like, oh, so that's how you roll. Mm-hmm. So you're one of those. So I always look at stuff like that, but I'm getting to a point where I'm getting ready for marriage in that way. Like I'm building myself up to lay the foundation and have kids. That's like, I really want kids, man.
Mm-hmm. It's tough, but
yeah. Well, 3rd one on the way.
Yeah.
God, I mean, listen. If I was in your shoes, not knowing all the things that you go through, I know the highs. I might know some of the lows, but I don't know the day to day. I don't know what it's like. But it just seems so fulfilling. Like work is better. Like you feel like more. Do you feel more motivated to go?
You have to, yeah. No, there's no,
Does it change like in your brain is like, I'm gonna do a better job now because everyone depends on me, kind of thing.
I don't necessarily think better job, but maybe put more hours in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more focus on the job.
You're always focused on the job unless you're dicking around. I feel like I'm always focused on the job, but take the job more seriously. Maybe
Yeah,
You
like
know?
putting more hours is taking more seriously.
I guess,
In a way.
yeah.
Yeah.
OT.
Overtime, baby.
Yeah. And that's what brings back to our first topic we were talking about, values, within the relationship, faith within the relationship, you know?
Very important.
Yeah.
So what's one thing that is like, well, what would you say is the most important thing when it comes to faith in the partner? Like,
Same beliefs, those
same.
core values
Yeah.
of that, faith. It's not too complicated. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, I would, because I know like modern day people, they're not as entrenched in religion as, let's say, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm not like I wouldn't be a stickler for someone who doesn't go to church every week. Like that wouldn't be a red flag to me. But do they live the values of the book in everyday life? Do they treat people with respect? Do they love their neighbor, so to speak? Do they act out the beliefs of the teachings?
Yeah.
Like the going to church is something you can turn on and off. But it's like, do you live those values? Is that embedded within your framework for living? I guess. That's really important to me. But it wouldn't be like a red flag if they don't go to church. But for you, you're saying fundamental beliefs.
I think they should go to. If you're going to church, they should, be right there next to you. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. But it's something that could grow. Doesn't have to be from the beginning. You can get them into the church.
What if they don't?
I know. That's tough. Well, hopefully the characteristics, it's something that you would have to talk about beforehand.
Yeah.
Are you at least willing to go to church and actually try? Not I'll go once and I don't like it because I don't understand anything. No, of course you're not going to understand anything. You have to dedicate your life to this.
Yeah. When I go to church, I feel different after leaving.
What do you feel like?
Rejuvenated within the soul.
Feel cleansed?
Yeah, of course. You don't when you after
I definitely
all the
do.
prayer and
it's the music,
the vibrational frequency of
yes.
everyone singing.
Yes.
There's something to that.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's
a big part of religion is the music, and especially in our religion.
Yeah,
like today, when I don't know what you call it, there's that.
I'm about to do it.
And then there's people singing, and there's layers, so you could tune into that part, and you could tune into the singing, and that's what you're talking about. Those vibrational frequencies. I think it's those layers.
I could even see it in the kids; like they enjoy it.
Yeah,
Jake Jackson likes it. He starts trying to sing along, and it's beautiful.
How beautiful is that?
It is
at that age. I remember when I asked my parents, or I asked my mom, when how did we behave in the church back in the days? She would always say like we just like kind of jump around, we'd make noise and all that. I don't remember ever like tuning into it.
Yeah, well, it's probably hard to like tune in when you're a kid.
Yeah,
like for me, my childhood is. I remember going to church, but tuning into the actual music and the gospel and all of that probably wasn't there.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
because layers, as we just talked about. But now, like you said, you feel rejuvenated. I do as well.
Yeah,
I think it's such a beautiful thing, and just to be able to humble ourselves at the end of it, like this is all faith. We're doing this all out of faith. All of this, all of these, everything that we're doing, all of the ceremonies, it's express faith. And we dedicate time, our lives, and we change our behaviors according to our faith.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, what's another thing church does for us? It keeps us accountable. See each other in person. And it builds community that way. Mm-hmm. What other institution where you see people weekly? It just doesn't. What, bowling or soccer? Yeah, maybe. But like, what in that type of way, church is what it is. Or some religious practice for another religion.
Yeah.
Like that's what keeps you binded. Like that dedicated time. So I think that's good.
I
I think
agree.
yeah. I'm glad we have that. I'm glad we have a church, man.
Yeah.
We're blessed. We are blessed. We have a church. Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, I've been going to that church for so long.
How long?
Forever.
How long has it been? Since it established?
No, since I was probably born.
Yeah, that crazy.
30 years.
Wow. 30 years we grew up in the church.
She would always drag me to church and I never would want to go. But I get it now. I understand. You know?
We didn't understand back then.
No.
And they're like, hey, you will one day, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So who instilled that in you?
My mother.
And what was like, what did she used to tell you? Like, about church? Like,
She wouldn't tell me about church, you know, just that I should go. It's good, you know. Never really in depth, you know what I'm saying? But
she would always ask you to come with her
Yeah.
at least? And you accompany her
yeah.
in church.
Well, you know, but there's a time when you get older and you stop going. And there's a disconnect with the church. But I think that's where the American values come in, which are shot. But you know, going there, I you know, I feel like she's with me when I go. That's another reason why I like to go.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get closer to them. Everyone.
And I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad I would try and go, you know, as much as we can. Usually when we're not at church, it's because she popped out another baby. So there's like a lag. But this time around, I'm gonna try my best to just, if I have to, just take, you know, Jackson with me, keep him going. You know.
He'll be a couple of years. He'll grow up most of his life in the church.
Yeah, it's important. I think it is.
If he goes like one more year, it would be like half his entire life would be going to church weekly. That's perspective right there.
Yeah.
So he's going to grow as far, if that keeps up, it's going to be so familiar to him that if he's, you know, has friends that don't grow up in the church, that's going to be weird to Jackson. It's like, what do you mean you don't go to church? Or what do you mean you don't?
Yeah, that's another thing. There's, you know, other kids there, some his age.
Yeah, you build, yeah, exactly.
You know, with, you know, parents with the same views and values that you have. And they're trying to instill that in their children. So it's I don't know the right word for it, but it makes it easier on them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you see it around you, and it's normalized.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the West right now, it's not normalized.
No, it's not.
It's not. There's a disconnect, and our priest always says there's a lot of noise.
There's a lot of noise.
A lot of distractions. Today.
Also, the phone.
Yeah, it's the phone.
It's the biggest. Yeah.
Tell me.
I was on my way to work on Friday, 7:30, and all the kids on the block were waiting for the bus, and it was like fucking zombies, just like this. They're all on their phones like this.
On the bus? Just
on the bus stops, just waiting for they're like in middle school and whatever, and they're like I can't even imagine giving him a phone in middle school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, just seeing what it's like now.
Like, just watch, connect it to the network. You need him, he could type a message, send it, call. I need you. You know, I don't feel like there's a need for a device with, you know, applications and.
You know, that's so funny that you say that, because I was thinking when you first said the watch, a smartwatch is pretty much a phone, but no, it's not as powerful as the phone.
Mm-hmm.
When you give the phone, you give access to the apps, you give access to creating that account, you give access to full internet.
Oh yeah,
everything. You get the most powerful technology all at once in your hand. But you're saying, let me start with the watch. That's actually so interesting. I never thought of that.
I mean.
Yeah.
If us adults are addicted to the phone, it's an addiction. There's no denying it. There is a particular addiction with usage of phone. I mean, same with food. People don't realize. It's like a drug.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're gonna get him hooked on. I mean, it's one thing to let them, play on a tablet here and there or watch a YouTube, but to actually give them a device that's theirs and they could, do whatever they want on it.
Yeah. I just try to steer clear as long as possible.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah, that's another thing to ask the wife.
I was gonna just tell you that.
Yeah, right. How early would you give a phone to your cat? Man, I'm trying to think. Even for me, now that you brought it up, I want to be more wary of that. I don't know if I want to give a kid a phone in middle school like that. It's too powerful.
Mm-hmm. And why would you? For what? What do they need it for?
What do they need? Well, because the power is also in the opposite direction.
Even if you got him a flip phone.
Yeah, I mean,
with Snake on it, that's fine.
You can play Snake. That's it. Snake only. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I wouldn't. I honestly wouldn't. Now that we talk about it, I don't think I'd give my phone until maybe high school. Even high school is tricky.
Yeah. And you don't want to disconnect them from technology completely where they're, they don't know how to use a computer. Or so there's also a balance of like, how do you keep them equipped with the modern times of, some kids can, like you're in computer, programming. It's a great job. So,
I always wanted to teach my kids code.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always a thought in my head. But maybe there's like a house computer so that it's more regulated instead of like their own computer, their own phone, where they could do that. Also with that, yeah, with code is really important, I think, because it teaches you how to build something using words. That's what code is. It's building functional pieces of software with words and logic and describing it. And there's one way to do it, and if you do it a different way, it has different behavior. And so I think it's important to learn. It's a language. It really is a language. There's programming languages, so you learn how to interface with different languages. I think it's really important for kids to learn that. But I don't want my kids to be immersed in social media at an early age, because I see what it's doing. I see what Instagram is doing by itself. Like, there's a presentation on Instagram. You got to look a certain way. You got to feel a certain way. You got to post a certain thing. Like, it's all performative.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Instagram is. Very performative.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when you... And this is not like a hit at... This is not a sting at anyone in particular. Everyone's, I think, gone through a phase where they've used Instagram that way because it's normalized to use Instagram that way. But the more I've used Instagram, the more I've wanted to stop using it. So right now I have like this time limit on it. Mm-hmm. It pops up after an hour. You gotta close the app. And then they have buttons because they're son of a guns. This company, they still want you on the app. Even though I put a limit for 1 hour, you can ignore it for the full day, the message. You can ignore it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And guess what? Some days I press ignore for 5 minutes. Ignore for 5 minutes. I want to keep scrolling. I like the reels I'm looking at. It's crazy. Imagine, and then back to the kids. Like, imagine they're just scrolling, and then one time there's a piece of content that's really bad.
Yeah.
Promoting some terrible lifestyle or decision, and they interacted with it because it had fancy music, whatever. And then just start getting the content. That's how it works. They interact with it. They watch it a little bit longer. They're going to start seeing that more. I mean, what are we seeing with all the kids shows these days? I mean, we were talking about this like a couple months ago, but the shows on YouTube that the kids are watching, it's so fast paced. Like, it's like, no wonder kids are growing up with attention problems, because it's so, I can't even keep up.
Yeah.
It's flashy. Things are changing. it's so like yeah, it's so fast paced. What do you think about that stuff? Those TV shows.
I think there are some that are fast paced and not good, and some that you could find that are helpful and useful, and you know, for developmental, and you know, Jordan and Jackson do sign language because they watch, Miss Rachel,
Oh,
which is pretty cool.
she does. I didn't know she does.
Yeah,
sign
she
language.
does everything. She does sign language most of the time, so they learn like things. It's not just like fast paced, like you said. Like there could be good programs for them to watch.
Yes. So
a
how
lot
do
of
you?
them are shot. Well, you
Yeah.
gotta do your research.
Yeah. So
See what other parents, talk. You look at what other people are talking about, whether it's affecting the behavior of the child or not. I mean, nothing is really good. They shouldn't even be on YouTube, period. But
give and take.
you give and take.
Yeah.
I
So
remember.
yeah.
I mean, I remember when I got my first computer.
Oh,
When
sure.
it first came, probably 4th, 5th grade. It wasn't my computer, it was my mom's, but I ripped that box open. I set it up. I didn't even know how to do it, but I was just doing it. Is that weird?
No, that's
Plug
cool.
in that,
You start plugging things
DC
in.
adapter, plug it into computer, hit power, comes up,
Did you have any idea what you were doing, or you're
No,
just
but I was
literally
just
plugging
doing
it in?
it,
You're you're plugging things in.
Yeah.
Until it worked.
Yeah, but I mean, how hard is it to set up a computer? I mean,
I mean, a lot of people struggle with that.
back
so.
then it wasn't too complicated. I mean, it still isn't, but I learned a lot from that, though. Even though it was something as simple as that.
That's cool, though.
Like, will Jackson ever be setting up his own computer at that age? Because I'm probably not gonna buy him a computer. You know what I'm saying? He already has my desktop. Like for what? Stuff like that. Computers were new when we got them.
But yeah, very new.
The big Dell like desktops. They're like 12 inches thick.
Yeah, the backs of the monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, those are big. Yeah, I think I have a picture of me on the first computer I ever had.
Yeah. And the internet was dialed up. You had to wait. There was a form of patience with it. Games came through CDs that you had to put in the computer.
Oh my god, the CDs sucked. You get one scratch, it won't download. But then the holy grail freaking solution: you take the disc out, you literally breathe on it, wipe it with your shirt, and it works. What happened?
Yeah.
How did that work? What, a piece of dust? It's crazy. And now nothing. There's no CDs.
Yep.
No CDs in computers.
Can't
anymore.
even find one with a slot.
Yeah, they're all done. Damn, yeah, times changed big time.
So from then till now, I feel like it's just a lot different from turning on a computer back then versus turning on a computer now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Seriously, like there's gonna be things that, yeah, like you said with the CD-ROM, we used to have the floppy disks.
Floppy disks, yeah.
I only use them in school. I never had a floppy disk on my computer.
Well, those were our memory cards.
Yeah,
And we really didn't. What files were we downloading?
yeah, dude.
By the time LimeWire and all that hit, I'm pretty sure we just ripped those onto CDs.
Yeah, CDs. Just to give you an idea, there's some CDs had like up to 5 gigabytes they could hold, like good CDs. Floppy disks were in megabytes. There's no gigabytes, if I remember.
Yeah, but also took CDs a while to get to 5 gigs. It wasn't like right away.
Yeah, no, it was megabytes first, and then it became gigabytes, and I think they never got to terabytes. I don't think.
No.
Only Blu-ray, maybe those bigger discs.
What do you think developed in the technology where they were like, okay, we could only do 100 megabytes, and then a year later they're like, okay, now we can do 250 megabytes, and then a year after that, okay, here's a gig. Do you think that technology developed over time, or they already had it but they just slowly released it? Like,
I think they were developing over time.
How much more difficult was it to get from point A to point B?
So I know less about memory. I know a lot about CPUs, the processors.
That one makes more sense.
But it's a similar idea. The transistors, they just allow electrons to go through or not. So those start off pretty big, and so you're limited by how much you could fit on that square. But over time, they get smaller and smaller. You could fit twice, 3 times, 4 times as many. And so they get more efficient and compact. So that over time, we keep getting smaller and smaller. Right now, we're at 3 nanometers. That's how big one transistor is. Like 3 nanometers.
Nanometer.
Yes. Very small. What is that? I think that's 3 millionths of a... 3 millionths of a meter. Something like that. Very small. Of a millimeter. 3 millionths of a millimeter. I'll look it up. I don't know. I forget. But it's tiny. So as it gets smaller, then they could fit more, and that's how it gets better over time. They don't release it commercially. They have it available before, but they release it commercially a little bit later. Because it's hard to produce these things accurately with that size. They're really small. Like you need a microscope to see these things. And they're just stacked. They're littered.
That's crazy.
So yeah, with the memory, it's similar. You can imagine just they keep getting smaller and smaller. They can fit more in a smaller space. You start off with those giant hard drives. Remember those, the hard drives? They're like this thick, maybe this wide.
Yeah.
Now you got flash memory. They're like this big now. You know, in your computer, you probably have those SD cards, but they're like they look like silicon. They just they look like a small motherboard. Yeah, they got tiny, man.
I know.
And they fit way more than those hard drives ever could. And for its size,
it's crazy.
All right,
how much smaller are they gonna get?
That's a good question. We're running out of space. They're gonna get too small. We're approaching the limits of this stuff. They can't get too much smaller than this because you're gonna have electrons. Just ignore the transistor. It's just gonna fly right through it. Quantum mechanics gets in the way.
Nano to quantum.
That's how we do it. Spitting blazars. I want to jump back to families.
Families it is.
How do you know when you're ready?
I kind of closed my eyes and went into it.
What do you mean by that?
So almost everything I've done since marriage, everything is just new. I never thought of any questions or anything like that, but thankfully everything worked out.
You take it as it comes.
And
it served you well.
Which I don't recommend because I feel like I'm in a different position, with the long history with the person, or basically, just the older you're gonna get, the less you're really gonna know the person, especially if they're a stranger. And it's not necessarily always the case, but most of the time, you could either be with the person and kind of not know back history, and it can damn.
Did it jump?
It jumped.
It's okay.
But
the history of the person.
Yeah. You can get so a lot of time. What am I gonna try and say with it? You can get lucky where the person is mature enough to have the same aspects and aspirations. But like I said, there's like that blank spot as you get older. You know that person's history. How do you really know who they are? You know what I'm saying? That's probably what it gets down to for me.
So that's more important thing.
Like, how do you really know somebody? Just because you got to know them doesn't really mean you know them, because people lie.
Yeah.
And more than ever, people lie now than they ever used to.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess that's such a very. It's a thing to ponder. Like, yeah,
it really will fuck with your head, but it's true. I feel like you truly don't know people. until you know them, and it might be too late at that point.
So that's, I think, very true. I think that's true for all cases. I think everyone's like this. So how do you remedy it? Knowing that that's always the case for everyone, that you don't really know who they are? Would you say like it's how you solve problems is what will get you through all of that?
Together?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. That's probably the best,
That's always something I think
communication, understanding,
because people lie, like you said.
Yeah.
And you find out things that maybe you don't like about the person or you didn't expect. But it's like, how do you move from that point on? Because it's always going to be the case for everyone you meet.
Yeah.
So it's like, just if you have a good system for solving that, you'll be good for everything. We always have to trust that you want the best for each other. If that's paramount, that value, then you really can get through everything if you choose to.
I agree, yeah.
All right, good. So I'm on the right track.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right. Was there something that got you fired up you want to just talk about? I like the family stuff.
Fired up?
Yeah, what comes from your heart, bro? What's something you want?
I feel like
I wanna get you into that conversation.
I feel
whatever
like
you want.
The food system
Let's talk about
is
that.
like, it's a big scam. It's all fraud. For example, like a lot of the fruits and vegetables that we're eating have been genetically modified to become what we're eating. Like a banana is supposed to be this big, but we get them like things like that.
They're actually smaller?
A real banana has seeds in it.
Like heart seeds?
Mm-hmm.
What? All right, that's mind blowing.
Soon the chicken you're gonna try and buy in the supermarket is gonna be lab grown, processed, not like they made a chicken and they faked the chicken. The chicken won't live. They just create it in a lab.
Like how they're doing with that Impossible Burger crap, right?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
You think they're gonna? I hope that I'll never try.
You gotta look. What are you consuming? Is it 100% grass fed? Free range. All that. And a lot of times you look into it, and these farms, they lie. So you really need to know where you're sourcing your food. That fires me up, knowing that there's a lot of fucking fraud in that. Why our country versus like a European country allows certain foods to be sold, and our country will allow the foods that will negatively impact our health versus another country where they don't allow like certain ingredients to be utilized in the food. That's insane.
Right. Like the European countries, you're saying does a little bit better than us. Right. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Like they'll have more regulations.
Oh yeah, we have we say we have regulations, but at what cost is the regulation? For big corporations to make more money. So are we really being regulated, or is it
just to make the companies more money? Whatever's convenient for them. If it doesn't hurt their profit, we'll keep this ingredient even if it's toxic. If it keeps our profit.
I mean, just look around, just in the areas that we live. How many more healthcare facilities are going up? Like, what are they expecting? We could have more people coming in or whatever the case is, but it's a rapid rate. Like they're opening up like that all over.
Now that you mention that, I have seen a crazy rise in health clinics or health medical facilities overall as like a new business taking over than anything else. So that's, I think, really true. I don't even think it has to do with population. Like, because even if the population increase doesn't necessarily mean you have more sicker people. If you're more, I guess, conscious about what you put in your body.
What's the root cause?
Yeah, root cause
of having cancer and all these, issues. What's the root cause? Food. I'm sure if more people were eating healthier, cleaner, there won't be as much, cancers or diseases.
I wonder all the seeds we even buy, are they GMO?
I mean, you can get non-GMO seeds, but a lot of the seeds are GMO'd unless you look for an organic.
Non-GMO
You could look
seed.
for them, yeah.
I wonder if those big seed companies, what is it? It starts with F. The one that we always use.
I think I know. Heirloom?
Heirloom something.
I don't know.
And then there's one, Burpee. You know that one.
Burpee, yeah.
I wonder if those are good.
Just gotta check.
Yeah, I know. So what? Non-GMO and organic.
Well, if it's GMO, then, I mean, genetically modified,
Those flowers I showed you upstairs, you remember those? Those are GMO, I know, because
They're
those...
flowers.
They're
Are you
because
gonna eat them?
it says the seeds are toxic, do not eat for humans. So it literally says on the package.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why would we put that in the ground?
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I guess some things are toxic naturally.
Poise your crop, Anthony?
But it looks so nice. I fell for it, bro.
Keep it in the pot.
Yeah, I'll keep it on pot. Pot it up. Tell me something that's like crazy, because you probably know a lot of crazy stories. Like you know about that carmine color red, the food dye, the red one, where
red, blue.
It's crushed up parasites.
Probably.
Yeah.
I said if Jackson eats a blue lollipop, he goes crazy.
Like just sugar head high.
It's probably the blue
rush?
dye in it. I mean, like you could tell before he eats the lollipop versus after he eats the lollipop, his behavior changes.
When you see it manifest so much more.
But I'm knowledgeable about it. I'm conscious of it, and seeing what it's going to do because of what I know. Even though I still gave it to him, and it's not good. But now I know it's definitely not good because
Can replace
you want to so no more lollipops. Get the organic ones. There's good lollipops that you can get for them. Doesn't have to be a regular blow pop or
like how obvious is it?
It's obvious.
It's just very, and as soon
and he's usually a calm kid, so like for him to eat that and then start acting up, like there's something to what he just ate,
Yeah, because it only happens after he eats it, for the most part.
Think about when you eat, if you go on a diet and you start eating clean, you as an adult, how much better do you feel?
Much better.
How much better do you feel
I could wake
versus
up.
eating fried, and all this garbage?
Yeah,
deep down, you really know you feel better, but our minds are a fucked up thing. You'll still eat the fried stuff, even though you know it's not good for you, but it tastes good. But why are we doing it? We're hurting ourselves,
I feel like we're addicted to it, though.
Like I said, I said that earlier. Food is an addiction. Yeah.
Like
I feel like it's just as addictive as I don't know what cocaine is like or crack or any of that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure it's just, some people can't get, some people just, they can't. Like marijuana.
Yeah.
People think that that's not addictive. 100% addictive. 100%. I've been clean off the za for 3 weeks. No, it was tough, but cold turkey is like the best thing to do. Just cut it out. More attentive, sharp-minded.
I've noticed that,
but
yeah,
I lash out for no reason. You think I'm not the same calm motherfucker? Like, I'll bug out for no reason just because I've been suppressing myself for so long, So like any little stupid thing can irritate me, and it's fine. Who cares?
I think that's fine.
You work on that.
Yeah, it's something you work on.
I feel as long as you're conscious of, what happens to your body when you're doing anything, a substance, eating a food. So long as you could be aware and conscious of that, and try and do better, you're on the right path.
Yes, and I think things in moderation are good too. And back to what you were saying. Oh my god. No, we're good. Okay. Now,
damn, I'm the worst. Having audio scares on this.
Yeah, I know. Yo, we're about to use this backup.
We got the backup.
No, we're cooking. You're cooking, by the way.
I don't cook. My wife does. That's her job. You want to talk about that?
I do want to talk about that.
The thing my aunt read today about feminism, that shit was tough.
And that shit is true.
Yeah.
That's just, I would love to talk about that. All they're trying to do is separate men and women.
Yeah. Look at the divorce rate in America.
Yeah, like, it's not empowering. It's not empowering to try to be as equal as you can to your men. Listen, we're equal under the law and under God.
Yeah, everyone's equal, I feel like.
We have different roles.
Yeah.
We have different roles. Trust me, you don't want to be the first person to die in the military. You don't want to be the first person in the front lines dying for your country. Okay? That's the ultimate. You want to talk about roles. Okay, you're maintaining the house, you're maintaining the kids, and all of that's amazing, and it's perfect, and it's wonderful, and it's required to build a home and all this stuff. But you're talking about the opposite for men. Like, we have to sacrifice our lives for the protection of our family. Like, and we do that without thought. So you want to be equal, you better put on a freaking, you better bring out a gun and go on the front lines. I don't want to hear it. If you want to call it equality, then join in on the front lines. Honest to God. Otherwise, there's no equality in that state. There's different roles, and there's nothing wrong with that. Men are not equipped to do a quarter of the things women could do. And we need each other. Mm-hmm. A man, when people say man could survive without a woman, they could survive, but they're incomplete. Mm-hmm. A woman also could survive on her own, but it'd be much harder to fend for herself. There's natural predators out there, right? There's other men, right? That's just the reality. When you put it in an anarchist way, without government, all these protections, there's always a threat. Anyway, I'm going to go off too much. What are your thoughts?
Well, I tell my wife all the time, Trump made it illegal for men to compete in women's sports, so I can't do, the laundry, the dishes. No, I'm kidding. How about with stuff like that? That was one of the craziest things is, a man converting and becoming a woman or whatever the fuck that is, and then competing in the sport and then dominating in it, and then the woman who actually tried her best to be number one in that sport.
Yeah, how is that empowering?
Gets fucking, blackballed, and the actual man who's in the women's sport is first. Like,
and it's dominating.
How the fuck did our country even allow that to happen? How did that even become a thing? Like, where you can just, you want to fucking cut your dick off? Okay, fine. But you can't do this. You can't do that. And then building codes changed.
Right.
Because of that
the
shit.
Bathrooms?
So everywhere in the city, they need a third fucking bathroom? That's fucked. That's all money, too. Yeah. It's all in betterment of, making more money for, government. That's why I feel like they played along with it for so long.
Well, they're cowards, honestly. They're cowards. They don't have a backbone. When one minority population tells you how to dictate policy across the country, and you cower to it and you want votes for that, even though you don't have a backbone, you have no fucking spine, nothing. Nothing. You're held up by freaking, like when you have a plant and it falls over, you have to stake it. You have to tie it up. That's what these politicians are like. They're just tied up and they just want to vote. They don't have any backbone. Like, look, these people, I believe they need help. We should treat them the same we would with anybody else.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to changing policy across the country like that, that's nonsense. There's no good reason, like you were talking about with the sports. How is that empowering to women? When a man who transitioned into a woman just starts dominating and taking all the medals away from all the women. How is that empowering? It's when the left goes too far. They want to be inclusive, but being inclusive too much hurts your own cause. Like, if you want to be inclusive towards women, you can. But if that has no end, you get things like this, where men could transition into women and dominate and take over everything. And it defeats the entire purpose. It's ridiculous. It's freaking ridiculous. But what we heard in that gospel teaching is very true. It's all a lie. And it's unfortunate that they're trying to tear apart the family. Family is the most important thing we have. Without the family, we truly have nothing. We don't have anything. Everything is family. Where you derive your values, where you're reinforcing your values, where you're held most accountable. All of these things is held within the family, and they're trying to destroy it. It's crazy. We cooking.
I agree completely. I can't even add to that, because I mean, you basically knocked that out of the park with that.
Yeah, man. It bothers me, because I think a lot of people are trying to be so inclusive and they're trying to cater to so many people, but they don't realize it's actually counterproductive.
And it hurts too, other people. I mean,
it hurts. Like, being tolerant for everything is not good.
No.
You have to be intolerant to some degree to carry forth some principles that you have. Like, I don't want my woman to be in the front lines of the military. That's why I will sacrifice my life and do it. If I have to. I will protect my family in any case to the best of my ability. I don't want my woman doing that. I want to protect her, make sure that my family is taken care of. That's an intrinsic biological thing that I have in me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just like a woman wants to protect her children. That's biologically intrinsic to the woman. And I have a paternal instinct to do the same, but in a very different way, in a more sacrificing way of like my own life. Woman is more sacrificing for her children. And man, when you take it to the extremes, you really see it. Like, let's say like a homeless mom, the things that she'll do for her child, even in circumstances as extreme as that, they will feed their children before they feed themselves. Like, think about that for a second. They'll feed someone the most basic thing for survival. They'll feed their children first before themselves. But they won't feed themselves to be able to take care of that person. They will suffer as much as possible as long as they're alive, just to give the best chance of survival for their offspring. That's fundamentally what it comes down to. You see it in every culture. It's not empowering to make everyone equal. It's not.
Yeah.
We're equal under God and under the government. That's it. And we're equal in the family. We have different roles, but they all equal to 50. You don't have to lift more than me to be equal to me. I will do more lifting, whatever, the physical part, whatever you want to name. Doesn't mean you're less important. You're just as important. Whatever you can do, I will compliment you in the best way I can. Just like a woman would compliment me in the best way she can. All right, that's enough about me. I don't know why I brought it back. I want to cook.
You are. You just,
little basting.
Adding. Yeah, we basted today. Basted the chicken. I got burnt up. Your brother got burnt up.
And
we basted it. Then we basted again. Flipped it. Basted it. Took it in. Basted more.
Good chicken?
It was good, yeah. I usually don't do spicy, but it had a good aftertaste.
Yeah, the aftertaste was good.
You know what I feel like it needed?
Spicy. Huh.
Honey.
We could. Oh, that's a good idea.
I think add honey to your next batch. Try and see how that comes out. Because I'm eating it, I'm like, ooh, it's so good, flavorful, but it wants to have a little honey on it. You know? Even if maybe you drizzle it, maybe you don't have to make the concoction with the honey. Maybe you do, I don't know. Or maybe do one with and one without. And the one without, you drizzle the honey on the chicken and baste it some more.
Baste. I love that.
Getting a little goofy over here.
So this is what we're destined to do. One day we need a podcast of just sounds. I'm saying it right now. Check out basiclogot.com.
You got the BVM collection.
I have a BVM collection, so you guys can check that out. There is a code. It's BVM.
Yes.
BVM, guys. And that's across the site, or is that just for the collection?
For your collection.
Okay. Is there any coupon codes right now?
No, but
so they can act right now.
10% on the whole order. You buy 2, you get 5 off each tee, so that's 10 off.
Guys, it makes a great gift. What are you doing? There's so many logos out there. There's every profession you can name. There's melodies. There's sports.
Fruit collection, job collection, all
Jobs.
hands on deck. There's more coming. But like as an example, like if you don't know what to get, your coworkers or your friends, for my coworkers, I got, we call one of them Beans. So I got her a Bean logo tee. The other kids into, cars and, all that stuff. So I got him steering wheel logo tee. The boss is an architect. So I got him the architect logo tee. So, I mean, there's something for everybody and there's more to come. So
there's always more to come.
Yeah.
Hey, you always build, and there's hundreds already now. So go check out your tee.
There's over 150 on there right now. I plan by August to have at least like 500-600.
Guys, go find your logo.
Find your logo, basiclogot.com.
And George, thanks for coming on, bro.
No problem.
I love you, man. This is always great.
Love you too.
It's fucking best friend right here. Best friend. This is my guy. It was so much fun to record this episode with George. I hope you enjoyed that. And as you can tell, for any podcast I do with George, there should be an audiogram because we have to portray the level of sound that we emphasize in these podcasts. I mean, we just love watching the audiogram just completely spaz out when we do sounds. So it's a lot of fun. And yeah, guys, it's been a while since my last podcast. I will be making another podcast soon about that, but it's just been extra busy recently. And a lot of people have been asking about the podcast. I really appreciate that. I really, really didn't want to lose any momentum. But a lot of things have been happening. And it brings up a lot of great topics in the realm of personal development, which is something I always love to talk about on the podcast. It's like one of the central themes. So we're going to be talking about that. I really appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. And I will see you back very soon with many more. Thank you for your time. Peace.